We do have attendees here already, and it's looking like it's 2:30. So we do have internal staff here as well too. Just so everybody's aware, we want them to be as connected as our customers. So with that, um, we're going to get started.
Hey, all righty. Well, hi, and welcome everybody to our webinar called Embracing Change, How to Use Change to Elevate Your Business. And just wanted to, on behalf of everybody, thank you for joining us. And a special shout out to the customers who have come forward to ask our team for help um, in understanding what's going on right now, what's going on in the industry, who's feeling and seeing what, and asking us to be that team to bring the voice to you guys. So that really speaks to the kind of partner we want to be, right? And the reason that we have webinars like this. So just so you know, it's our passion and to help and to deepen our partnership with you all. So appreciate that. Also, I want to thank all of you for investing your time today. So I want you to know two things: that number one, you're going to go away with you are not alone, and you're going to know that. And number two, you're going to know things that you can do, or actually that we all can do, to help elevate our businesses and work through this change. So with that, I think I hand it over to Sandy, right, for some housekeeping.
That's correct. And so we would just like to welcome everybody. Up on the top of your screen, there's a chat bubble that you can open. We would invite you all to open that chat and type in where you're from. Part of this is networking. So let us know what shops you're from, where you're attending, so that the other people can start to network with you and just say hello. And we do want this to be an interactive webinar. So if you do have questions, I will be monitoring that chat, and I can bring those the questions forward. Or at the end of this, we are going to open up everybody's mics and videos, and allow people to have questions that they can bring to the table themselves as well. So if you want to keep track of it, or put in the chat and I'll keep track of it and come back to you.
Sorry, Sandy. I just
That's
want to
really
make
it.
sure everyone knows that anyone that is doing this on their phones, there won't be a thing on the top. It's actually at the bottom. It's your three dots, and you can click on
Okay.
the chat if you're doing it from your phone. It's the three dots next to your hang up button.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So, all right.
Okay.
Back to Nancy.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for the crowd that's here. And one thing I didn't mention and I wanted to let you know is we have a lot of our customers here. Not every customer is here, but you're here. And I applaud um, and and am glad that you chose to take your time out of your busy day to be here with us. And you are going to see and be part of the difference that you can make just by being here. So kudos to all of you that are here. So our first topic is we want to take a look at what's going on, right? So we're going to do a summary of the economy. We're going to look at it big picture. We're going to look at it, what we're hearing from our vendors, from our growers. We're going to talk about what other wholesalers like us around the country are seeing and feeling, and then down to our customers such as you. So to kick it off, Jeff Marone, our president here at Limbush Roses, is going to give us the big picture on what the economy is doing as a whole. Take it away, Jeff.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. Hey, Team LBR. You guys rock, and welcome customers of Limbush Roses. Really appreciate your time and investment. Cue slideshow. The team will be pleased to know I've got 75 graphs to run through, so we'll hit those quickly. My intent's just to share a little bit of economic perspective on what I deemed as the wild ride we've been on. If anybody's familiar with COVID in the floral industry, Those two things have interacted significantly here since early on in 2020. So I want to hit a few headlines. First off, inflation. Next slide, please, Sandy. So not news for anybody, but we are setting records in a not so positive way on inflation as a country. So this is a 40-year chart. You can see early 80s for those of us who are around, waiting in gas lines, near double-digit inflation, and we hit those highs again, peaking in March, April, May. June was at 9.5. And so what's this mean? This is everything's more expensive. New car, ceramic pumpkin, the cost of doing business is increased and the cost of living our lives is increased. The good news here is you can see the tail end of that last chart, inflation in July that just came out yesterday, 8.5%. Not as high as it's been, but still a significant rate. The good news is economists expect this to start to wind down and get back to those normalized rates. You can see the 40 years between then and now kind of bounce around in that 2%, 3% range. So policymakers are working on ways to get inflation tamed and back down there, which is good news. So the worst of it, as they say, is happened to us. We've endured it, and it's going to get better. That doesn't mean prices going the other way. It's going to mean the rate of increase is going to soften.
So Jeff, what I heard you say is June was at an all-time high of 9%, and July now at 8.5.
Right.
Is that
yeah?
Is
June
that right?
9.5. July dipped a little bit relative to June, and this is a year-on-year by month consumer price index. So basket of goods and services, what's it cost now versus last year? And so that's a pretty steep increase. So the back half of 2020, that almost vertical line is climbing inflation, and we're going to see that not necessarily reverse and dip below zero, but get down back into low single digits. That's the goal from the Federal Reserve Board.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. Labor market, particularly in Minnesota, extremely tight. Attracting, retaining, fairly compensating employees to run our businesses has been a challenge. Part of this is our economy was growing in a robust manner up until COVID hit. Then it dropped. People exited the workforce, and with that kind of rebound effect from that shorter period of shutdown and COVID, the demand for employees is increased, particularly in Minnesota. So U.S. rate at 3.5%, which is near record levels of low unemployment. Minnesota, 1.8%. So I know we're not all here in Twin Cities operating. This is representative of the upper Midwest. So the war for talent's real. It's a part of inflation. So in order to be competitive, wage rates go up, and that turns into higher costs of goods and services, which we pay out of pocket for at the gas pump, or buying what we talked about earlier, chicken thighs versus the prime rib.
That's right.
Making our dollar go further. So this is real as well. And again, you can see the impact from COVID, that peak there at the right side of the chart. Then it got right back in line with low unemployment and dropped even further. This also should start to ease up, is what economists are saying. Inflation is a factor on that. Economic growth is a factor on that. The labor market will ease over time. It's not going to do a left turn and make everything glorious in that respect.
Thank you. This question just popped into my head, Jeff. How'd this happen?
You have no idea, but I did get some neat pictures to put on a slide. So COVID there in the middle, this was a key part of it. And again, a 40-year run rate of roughly 1.5 to 3.5% inflation. And now we get to 9, 8.5 in July. So a few things going on. The rebound effect coming off COVID. So economic growth high, demand for goods and services robust. COVID happens and the shutdown occurred. It impacted all of us, our customers, our employees, our business, our vendors. in basically all industries. And when manufacturing shuts down in the US and then overseas, and then demand turns on pretty quickly, and the need for those goods and services returns to pre-pandemic levels, the catch-up effect was very challenging. So delays in ports, unplanned Russian invasion of Ukraine, putting pressure on grain, putting pressure on fuel, utility prices. That's a picture of John Stoy in line with his lawnmower, circa
Yeah.
1981 or 79, I can't remember. I was in the car in front of him. Fuel prices going to $5+, diesel, crazy rates, and the cost of producing and delivering our goods and services going up. So that turns into high demand, outpacing supply, prices go up. There's the inflation piece. And good news here, that disruption in supply chain also is beginning to subside. So I bring it back to what's that mean for us, for our industry, for us as individuals, families, going to Cup Foods and picking up groceries for dinner or for the weekend barbecue. This is a 10-year chart of hourly earnings in the US, year-on-year change. So the blue line is basically 2, 3, 4% growth in wages year on year for employees in the US. And then COVID hits, it peaks, it drops significantly, and then it's climbed pretty significantly here. The percentages are a little bit small and blurry, but instead of the normal pay rate increases of 2 to 3% a year on average, those have gone to 4 and to 5 after the COVID disruption. And now it's 5.
And the yellow
Great
line,
news.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, appreciate that. No, part 2 is, well, this, because of inflation, those additional dollars in our pockets don't go as far as they used to. So this is a depiction of inflation adjusted dollars versus the actual dollars. So $50 at the grocery store filled 2 bags. Now $50 fills 1, something along those lines. So the cost of goods and services, again, has increased, and our buying power in a pretty short period of time shifted the other way, and we felt it. I think March was a little bit soft. The holidays were good. Mid-June or so, from a floral consumption standpoint, it appears that unit consumption, dollar consumption, not just here, and Jason will get into more detail on this, but elsewhere, slowed down. And a big factor in that is people's spending power is people's actual dollars are going up, but the spending power is going down.
So what does this look like for us going forward here? What's the prediction?
Yeah, so here's a look at economic growth by quarter. COVID bad, post-COVID good. Those are the big bars, negative and then positive respectively. And this is a measure of economic growth. The government looks at gross domestic product, the measure of all goods and services produced, and that here in the last 2 quarters has contracted. So negative growth, which is a decline, I think technically. Good news here, the outlook is a restoration of economic growth. This means inflation subsiding, labor market easing up, businesses doing better, consumer demand coming back. Consumer confidence has been low, and that's largely driven by inflation. The expectation is that economic output increases, consumer sentiment or consumer confidence starts to inch back up as things normalize, and we get back to sort of 2019 type economic environment.
Great. All right. So things are looking up. It's slight, but it's looking up.
Slight, but looking up. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
For sure. Said another way, the worst is over. And what's this mean for us? And again, Jason's going to talk a bit more about this, but one of my favorite products, the pottery pumpkin, the ability to get that supply chain disruption, the cost of getting that, the cost of you all putting a fantastic arrangement in that, you, not me, and the cost of delivering that to our esteemed end customers is a very different proposition from what it was pre-COVID. And the expectation is we're in a really rough patch. It's going to normalize. We've been through worse. Economic outlook is improving. It's likely not going to be as robust as it was 2019, first part of 2020 before COVID.
Okay.
That's all the slides they let me put in. So
and
deal
graphs.
with it. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate your insight. And if anybody wants a deeper understanding of any of this, reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Here to help. If I can clarify anything, whatever I can do to help, don't hesitate. Reach out directly through the team, whatever you need at your service. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. So Jason, a couple of weeks ago, we had an opportunity to get together with a lot of key people in the industry for 3 solid days. And in that time, we got to have a lot of awesome conversation. Can you share information that we learned from growers, from other wholesalers, and what's going on with them at this time?
But yeah, it was a great event we hosted here. We had growers from both Colombia and Ecuador here, as well as wholesalers from across the country, as well as locally here. So it was really nice to chat with them and get an understanding of what they're seeing out in the marketplace. So locally, we did hear that there's a dip elsewhere as well. So basically our competition here. And then across the country, significant challenge since mid-June, roughly, through today. And that's a marked change from what we had been hearing going in. So it was a significant drop off right in that mid-June period that changed, and we were not ready for it. They weren't ready for it, and the overall industry, I don't think, was ready to see that. So what we're hearing from farms in Colombia and Ecuador currently is that they are not willing to risk bringing in as much speculative product. So typically they bring products into the warehouse in Miami from those farms, and they sit on it there and attempt to sell it to wholesalers across the country. However, that demand has gone down significantly, so they're actually not bringing as much in to put into the warehouse in Miami, basically because it's costing them more to do that than to throw away at the farm. So as we've been talking here through the whole COVID pandemic about inbound freight costs, packaging costs, and delivery costs going up, that is still impacting them significantly, bringing product in from farm to the U.S. So it's likely that we're going to have a little more difficulty filling in potentially out of Miami for last minute orders. So, being out there and trying to get important orders in advance is a good thing. It isn't as drastic as when we were in full gear here and there was no product to be found. The difference here is that the product is there, but it's not going to be in Miami at beck and call like it has been, like we would expect when there's a downturn in the market.
Okay.
So they as well started seeing this. The farms that is started seeing this in mid-June, actually probably early June.
Yeah, it was good to get together with them. Thanks for that information, Jason. I appreciate that context. So now I guess we ask the question, what do we do about it, right? Now that we know and appreciate all the overview, what can we as an industry, what can we as a community here do about it? And what we need to do right now is just really use this time to prepare and elevate ourselves. So I can't tell you how many times I've seen this quote in the past several weeks. Sandy, if you could key it up. But it's from Wayne Gretzky, and he says, a good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be. So what that's telling us is we need to anticipate and not react, right? So we need to keep doing something, keep focused on where you want to go, and what happens is the tendency is when we're in a situation like this is to freeze. And what we need to do is to not freeze. We need to do something. So the good thing is you guys are here, right? So we're going to learn what we can do. People that don't have the information or the insight are the ones that are going to freeze, and it's going to leave them standing in a still place where we're going to advance and do something about it. So we're going to take some maybe uncomfortable actions, but we're going to be different. We're going to elevate, and we are going to embrace the change. So what we're going to do is we are going to lean in. So we're going to, the next slide, Sandy. So yes, I mean, if we want to win, right, that's it. Yeah, we need to actually like push a little harder. We need to do a little more. We have the time right now. I've heard it from everybody. But we're going to lean in and be the winners here, because that's what we do. We're here, we're creative people, and we're going to do what we need to do. So Sandy, share with me what are some things that we can do to prepare and elevate ourselves during this time?
So on this, we've been hearing from some customers so that you're really not alone. We've had a couple customers call in that checking in and saying, I've been down 20%. And, is it just me, or what else is happening? And then another customer called in a little bit later saying they had the worst June that they ever had. So as we look at it, what we want to do is think about what are the things that we can do ahead of time, in a time when we have down business. So you still have your employees there. We know that we want to invest in our talent that we have and allow them to grow. So I would challenge you to take this opportunity to have your designers kind of elevate their floral artistry and start to show it off. So we have compiled, we have a LBR Educates and LBR Inspires YouTube channels, and we have our videos on social media. But when you take a look at some of those are targeted toward staff training. And so we're going to do a follow-up email that's going to give you links to all of those. But one of those, for example, is about stem insertions. So what's the importance of stem insertions? Well, the depth of your stem insertions is going to affect the lasting quality of your designs, ultimately affecting the satisfaction that your customers have with your product and elevating your name and reputation as far as sending out a quality product and having it last for a long time. So if you look at some of those and take advantage of utilizing some of those videos to challenge some of your staff members and come in and look at some of those videos and then show the your customers the engagement of you investing in your employees. So we're seeing a lot of activity right now where you're seeing the behind the scenes. And so do those arrangements, try some different things, do some of the different arrangements that we were showing. And, once a week, take a look at a video and have your employees try to elevate their skills and learn some new techniques that are labor savings and also can elevate your design work.
So Sandy, excuse me. So what
Yep.
I'm hearing is education, develop your skills. This is an opportune time to do it. We all have just that, maybe that little bit of extra time, not only to elevate our team on the basics, right? But I mean, honestly, you have some really awesome advanced stuff too that can really just set yourself apart, right? So if you haven't had time to do that in the past, I mean, lash on to that. That's great. And then what I heard you say is connections, right? So connecting with your customers, giving them the backstage pass to seeing what's going on in your shop through what your employees are doing. I think that's awesome. And I remember a customer doing a social media video, and it was just them arranging flowers, and they're like, I couldn't believe how much people engaged in that. But you know what? It just showed that people just love to see what's going on, and they just want to be in the know. And that connection, those connections are just going to elevate who you are to them.
Yeah,
So,
and
awesome.
one tip, like if you're not comfortable with talking on video, is to set up a time lapse on your phone. All of the interruptions are gone out of it, and then when you upload it, you can put it to music, and all they get to see is you designing. And
Perfect.
so if you see some of the other things that we see, we see national companies. Sometimes we look to other national advertisers as what they're doing and to look at what the trends are. And so I was struck recently last week when I saw the McDonald's ad did not feature a hamburger, did not feature fries. It featured
Yeah.
their employees, and it talked about the customers coming in and saying, I see James every morning and I get my cup of coffee and a smile and a greeting and I'm good for the day. And so it took the people connection and brought it beyond selling to them, but elevated that investment that they make and value that they have in their employees. So by
Love
you
that.
showing your dedication to increasing their skills, it's going to be an investment in your employees and make that connection for your customers.
I already like McDonald's so much more because of that. Seriously, it's like the shout out to their employees making a difference. That's awesome. And speaking of social media, I'm going to go to Jason now for a second. Jason, you are super connected with our customers on social media, and not in a creepy way.
They
But
might disagree with that.
what are you seeing? You've mentioned the dramatic change you've seen. Let's talk about it.
Well, so I think if we go back to when, COVID really kicked in and we knew it was real and we all had to figure out what exactly we were going to do to overcome some of this. And I think all of, our floral partners out there figured out that this is one way they could reach out to their community and really ask for support, make the community aware that they were there and they could, help the community overall. I think that we saw that. And then, somewhere last year, I started seeing, and I follow a lot of our florists out there. You should see my feed. Anyway, I noticed some of them just kind of stopped doing it. And I think business was good. I think overall everybody was, successful out there, and they probably didn't have the time to put into doing what they were to try and bring business in during the initial COVID impact. But as of, the last 2-3 weeks, definitely a marked change. And not only for our florists out there, that had been still doing weekly things, but florists that had disappeared off of my feed for a long time, all of a sudden appearing with daily posts, multiple weekly posts. So everybody's trying to go back to, what worked when
Right.
when COVID when it actually kicked in, and I do believe it does work. Just the awareness factor in your community that you're there. I totally agree, introducing your staff to the community and new things that you're doing. I think all of that is just a touch point, right? A reminder that we're still here. And, the other thing that I've seen out there is our vendors who I follow as well, a dramatic increase in post. So vendors that I haven't seen post from in probably a couple of years, all of a sudden making flowers appear in front of me on my feed through whatever their posts may be. But the point is that they're utilizing it as a way to bring awareness and viability in the current market.
Yeah, creating those connections and really using emotion, right? So let's take a peek at Rhoda gave us permission to show this. And I'm just saying get creative because you guys are creative people. We were super creative during COVID. So let's channel our inner creativeness. And so she's doing something called Brighten Someone's Day, which was something she did with the radio station for Pedal It Forward. They followed her and they're like, what else can we do? Beyond Pedal It Forward. So they came up with this campaign. And what is it? Make a positive difference in someone's life, right? So you just nominate someone, and then they're going to randomly choose someone and you get to give them a bouquet of flowers. How awesome is that? So not only is it showing what you are doing in the community, but giving people an opportunity to make someone else's day. So love that. And thanks, Rhoda, for letting us share that. So the ideas are endless, right? And the industry is also doing some awesome things to help us. Sandy, what can you tell us about what's going on there?
So we have a couple of the floral community, the industry, that during COVID, they didn't sit back on their hands either. But so we have two campaigns that are international campaigns, the flower movement and also the that flower feeling. And sorry, forgot to share these before we go. There we go. So we have two campaigns, and we're going to share the links to these campaigns. But we recently participated in the flower movement campaign with the WUFSA seminar that was here and had the attendees, the 80 attendees, create over 500 arrangements. We got news coverage from CCX and also Care 11. And so we'll send you those links or look for those on our social media. But the flower movement really focuses kind of on that flower feeling, the feelings that flowers bring. And that flower feeling focuses on self-care kind of campaign. And so both of them come from the growers and stuff. And so they're making sure that that emotional connection that we really felt during COVID doesn't go away. And so they have invested in these campaigns and are looking for support to keep them going forward, coming from the wholesalers and the other growers, to make sure that we are still keeping that message alive and keeping that growth we saw in our industry with that emotional connection with flowers, keeping it alive and bringing it forward.
Just awesome. Two comments. Yesterday in our Flowers Between Friends, it's posted on our Facebook page. They did an excellent job on showcasing the flower movement. So take the 5 minutes to check that out. And then second, the industry really did the work on this. So it's an easy plug and play for you. It's an easy campaign to latch on to and just enhance what you're doing already. So thanks, Sandy. Jeff, I'm going to go back to you. And can you talk a little bit about the importance of differentiating your personal business?
Yeah, absolutely. So as business owner, leader, with your team, I think a key thing to understand is what your customers value and what you have to offer and why they come back and continue to do business with you. We talk about it as our value proposition. So what are the key elements of our company that differentiate us from the competition? And in along with what we're talking about here, this is a great time to solidify those, strengthen, build on those strengths. This is not to say stop innovating and coming up with ways to add different ways to deliver value to your customers, but it's a combination, really understanding what you're good at, why customers come to your shop, how do you build on those, how do you market those to your customers?
Mm-hmm.
If it's speedy delivery, fantastic. If it's the quality of the design, the talent on your team, bring that front and center, market it, show it, continue to invest there, and really strengthen that, because that's what's driving your business. So I rambled on there, but it's solidifying that, being clear, and being deliberate and confident that that's what makes a difference, and move forward with that mindset.
That's awesome. Thank you. Next topic, we're going to talk about working together. So last week we were at a conference where the speakers spoke not just about working together with your internal team, but really within the industry, outside your industry, actually with your competition. Jeff, you were there. Can you speak to what Meredith Elliott Powell said about collaboration?
For sure. So Meredith talked about business strategy, and a key change in the way to succeed is, and this is a really good example around helping each other succeed. So it was shifting from competition to collaboration. So how do we as a floral community work together to strengthen each other, strengthen the quality and the impact that floral design can have to end consumers and drive increased consumption. So I think this team, both LBR customers, competitors as well, worked really well together through COVID, collaborating with the government on making sure florists could stay open, sharing success by having seemingly competitors sharing the screen with Teams or Zoom, sharing what helped them succeed and thrive through and coming out of COVID, and collaborating in that respect. So again, it's a I almost said it, yeah, never mind. It's a mindset shift of, we're independent, we need to succeed on our own, versus how do we learn from each other, help each other, and know that as floral consumption grows, it's good for everybody: vendor, wholesaler, designer, flower shop.
Yeah.
She said it more succinctly.
Now you did great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I love that. And let's change the word competition to peers, right? So that's what we are. We're peers with each other here, and we show it so well in our floral community. So spotlight on our floral community there. Just a fun group of ladies that got to know each other through our LBR Floral Community Facebook page. And the ideas, the help, the energy that comes through that page is all driven by you guys. And it's super exciting for us to see. So if you are not currently a member, Sandy will provide a link to that as well. So love that group. Love what you guys have done with it. And if you're not watching the chat, Sandy did put a couple links on the flower feeling and in the Care 11 and the CCX episodes that were done. That was fun.
And we'll send them in an email later too. So
awesome. Okay, Sandy, we're creative people. What should our customers be doing?
So everybody got really creative during COVID. They're like, what are we going to do? So we want to just take you back to there. And it was kind of a rough feeling, but people got so creative, doing online plant sales, sharing things that are in their cooler, selling on their social media pages. You want to think about, what are some of those ideas that you did, and how could you reignite them or elevate them? We have some people doing subscription plans. What if you went to your local nursing home? You put an arrangement out and develop a program where any of the visitors could set up a subscription to have flowers delivered to their loved one once a month. So, a couple of things that you could do is have it set, it'll go out on the same day. So, you could do free delivery because it's going to be a bulk delivery. Have them give your credit card and they could do it every other month or once a month or 4 times a year. But think about what are some of those creative ideas that we can reach people beyond the basic orders that we're getting on a daily basis. Go back to doing some of those classes. Engage with the younger generation. Engage on social media doing classes. Doesn't have to be real complicated. So we saw a lot of our LBR floral community inspiring each other to do different classes and really kind of keep on selling to that emotion. Think about what the base is on that and also embrace one of the trending things that we see happening is shop local. And that's where, when you talk about showing your employees, that shows that connection of that local aspect. Purchasing local, we have a LBR fresh and local decals that you can put on your bucket and signage to show that you are supporting a local family owned business as well. Len Bush is a family owned business, and we have employees that we are featuring on our social media as well, so that you get that connection to that aspect of who you're buying from and what the impact is on your local economy, keeping it local, small businesses. We know flower shops and are in that small business category and make people feel like you're buying from friends, people that they're comfortable with, people in their neighborhood, and supporting not only you on a special occasion, but on a daily basis, really adding that emotional aspect that it can even bring in that self-care aspect. What are flowers going to do for you on a daily basis? Even doesn't have to be a ton. 3 sunflowers on a table right now would just elevate your house. And ask my husband, we have flowers on the table all the time. But so just looking at some of the things that are doing, and we would like you to share that on that floral community and kind of keep inspiring each other.
Yeah. How about what homework that we would love to give? When's the last time you had homework? In the Facebook community page, let's start posting some ideas. What are you doing to be creative and engage your customers again? What are some ideas that we can share together because we're going to collaborate amongst our peers? We're not competitors. We're going to work together. How are you using that flower feeling or the flower movement to help show people what you're doing? So homework assignment, please post your ideas and let's share that. And with that, I think what we're going to do is, first of all, thank you on behalf of all of us for spending this time. We hope we've given you some insight and some ideas on how to generate. I think the main thing is do something, right? Don't freeze. Other people are freezing. You're not going to freeze. You're going to move forward. You're going to lean in and you're going to make some changes. And what we're going to do now is open up. I think Sandy's going to be able to give you all, if you have microphone capabilities and camera capabilities, she's going to open that up and we can have a live chat. If people want to ask questions, if you have questions and you don't have a microphone, feel free to put them in the chat section right now. And then as we're doing that, as Sandy's releasing
It's
the
open
control.
right now. Yeah.
Okay. I want you to think about what else. What else can we at Limbush Roses do for you? We have some ideas for our next webinar, things that we want to share, topics maybe that we've just kind of skimmed, and we can go deeper on to help you guys elevate and grow your businesses. So that's what we're here for.
So do we have
questions?
anybody that has a question that's on? Any comments? Even from internal staff. So you did see that we did have our internal staff on as well here. And, you know, that's engaging our employees. And so we want to encourage you to kind of take that same thing. We are recording this and we are going to have it up on our YouTube channel. So if you did have somebody that wasn't able to attend today, you can access the recording hopefully by tomorrow. So we're just, I need to edit it and get it posted, but we'll be doing that. And
hey, one thing, Sandy, as we talk about education, next week we do have a sympathy class. Lots of people already registered, but there's a few openings. So if you haven't and you still want to, I would get on board today or tomorrow and get registered if there's still openings, and do that one thing to move forward. Lean into education.
Yeah, and we do have a couple other educational opportunities that are coming up as well. So the Minnesota State Fair, we have the Designer of the Year competition that we're sponsoring the finals, but we would encourage you to come there and encourage your employees. I have one shop that has had like 1 or 2 attendees, and the owner challenged them, and they have 6 people that signed up this year. And the one gal said to me, you know, not everybody's going to do great, but they're all going to learn from it and grow. And that competition is important for me because it was a way that I came from a farm kid in central Minnesota and saw bigger things. And so by challenging your employees to come out and show off the floral artistry, you bring 2 design pieces, and then once they're evaluated, we put out your shop name, business cards, and have opportunities for advertising and exposure to thousands of people that come through that horticulture building. So we'll have 2 displays in the courtyard of the rotunda of the state fair promoting floral arrangements or floral design, buying flowers, along with some other local florists that'll be in there. And then we are at the North Dakota State Florist Convention, and we'll have an Elements and Principles class in October, a 2-day class that is a learning experience class. It's going to be held in St. Cloud for anybody that's scared to come to the city. So we do have lots of educational opportunities on the horizon.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. In closing, I just want to thank again everybody for coming. Please reach out to any of us if you have further questions. If you have ideas or conversation that you want us to share, let us know. With that, thanks.
Thank you all. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.